Hello everybody. Finally I'm getting to this video. Just a few things before I start the video that I want to touch on. I have really bad sinuses currently, so if you hear me sniffling, sneezing, or any of that, just know that that's what it is. It's also pretty late, and for the last couple of days I've been thinking about how I'm going to do this video because it is so in-depth. There is so much to it because it goes back for 2 years to really understand everything. So I'm probably going to start kind of like where our relationship started, how it got to where it currently is, and go from there. And so it'll probably be a couple of different pieces to this video that I will add to, kind of like a vlog series if anybody's interested in watching. I guess I'll kind of just see the initial takeoff with this video and then go from there. But yeah, so anyways, let me just get right into it. My name's Amanda, or Mandy. A lot of my friends, close family, call me Mandy. Close friends, I mean, not close family. All family's close, but my close friends. Um, my little one's back here sleeping. She sleeps when we co-sleep because it's just me and her. So that's another reason this video is taking so long, because I'm a single mother. I work full-time. I have no real assistance with her besides my mother and father. And I also have 2 dogs that are a handful. So yeah, I'm a very busy mom, and finding the time, I'm sure which a lot of mothers will understand this, just finding the time to sit down and have me time or any time to yourself to do anything, like even going to the bathroom, it's kind of hard to do. So yeah, the video has been something that I've been wanting to do for a while now. I should have really done this way back when I was still pregnant with my daughter. Her name's Emberlyn Jolene, by the way, or Emmy or MJ. And the MJ's kind of got part of the story. It kind of follows into that. But yeah, I wanted to make this video to hopefully enlighten other women who are going through this while they're pregnant, because I remember being pregnant and just starting to go through the process with my child's father and seeing other women post about it on the internet, that stories were so relatable, but I didn't know anybody directly that understood what I was going through. Like, I knew friends who were single moms, but they had never been through what I had been through, per se. So maybe if I can help a mother who is still pregnant and trying to just figure out, what she should do. Also, I just want to, vent, get that out of my system for my own self. Because a lot of this, like I said, I talked to friends and family about this, but they don't really understand. So they always give me the same initial reaction. Oh, just be done. Just end it. Just move on. Just, do this, do that. And they don't understand because they're not in that. So they wouldn't understand how that feels firsthand, and yeah, so I want to be able to help people with this video and also help myself heal from this process. And so, yeah, but a little bit about me. Let me get on to the video, I guess. My name's Amanda, or Mandy, as I said, and I'm 32. When this all started, I just turned 30. Literally just turned 30, like a month prior to meeting her father. I won't give his name out just because I don't want the correlation. If anybody goes back to my Facebook and maybe sees him, because he's still tagged in some stuff, I don't want any hate spread or anything like that. And I just feel like it would be messy to put names in it. So I'll give, you know, um, an initial or a false name or something like that when it comes to him. But yeah, we're from South Carolina. I was born and raised here. I've traveled a lot, moved around a lot in my life, seen a lot of different sides of life and walks of life in my short 32 years, but I've experienced a good bit. I've did some things, lived a little. So I think I have pretty good perception of people because, like I said, I've lived in different states. I've traveled. I've met a lot of different types of people. I'll go ahead and say this. I was an exotic dancer for about 6.5 years. So in that time frame, I came across a lot of very different types of individuals and a lot of sketchy individuals. And I probably would have picked up better on it had I been, not so young, but I was very young. I started when I was 18, and I did that until I was about 26, I think. So yeah, I did it on and off. And with that being said, like I said, I learned a lot about people, but I didn't learn to the extent toward this giant situation took me to. So yeah, let me just get into the first part of this video, and I hope y'all enjoy it. But this is my story. So little backstory. Um, right before I met Emberlin's dad, I had actually been with a guy for 7 years, and we were very toxic to one another. Both of us. I take responsibility as well into that. He was 7 years younger than me, and there's a lot of sevens in that, but he was 7 years younger than me, and we were together for 7 years. So when him and I met, coincidentally, he had lied to me, told me he was 21, and I didn't find out he was actually only 18, about to be 19, until about 3 or 4 months into the relationship, when he went in to buy beer one night and he was turned down. And then about a month later, his family threw a birthday party for him, and the truth came out. So, like I said, I have bad taste in men, horrible taste in men. Always have. It seems like I've been married 2 times. I've been engaged numerous times. Not very lucky in love. So I don't know why I thought having a child would be any different, but it was by far the worst shit show I've ever been in. Still in currently, not really in, but dealing with. So, yeah, I was with this guy, and I'll just call him R, for 7 years. Very toxic relationship. There was a lot of physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse on both ends, and it didn't start out that way. It was very love bombing, because we moved in together. Literally, we met, and I moved back from Pennsylvania. We talked for about 3 months while I was in Pennsylvania, going through a separation from my second husband. Me and him talked, and I had a home that I owned on my parents' land. So me and him came up with the coincidence of, he was in kind of in between, staying from couch to couch and job to job, and I was a 23-year-old girl who was like, what do I got to lose? Going through my own separation, I just decided to pack up my car one day and get in it and drive back to South Carolina, and then proceed to Georgia and pick this guy up, and we moved in together, and we literally lived together every day pretty much for 7 years. And there was a lot of demons we both fought in that relationship that I won't really touch on, but needless to say, it was bad. And right towards the end of the relationship, things kind of looked positive for us for the first time in a long time. He actually had wanted to become a cop, so I supported that dream and pushed him to go for it, and he did. And he went to the academy and started to do everything, the initial, things that our sheriff's department down here wanted him to do. They had already hired him. They provided for him they paid for his academy, for the police academy, since they had already done a pre-hire for him. And that was, I think, 8 weeks. So about the 5th week into it, he would leave for the weekend. He would come home on the weekends. And so we had just got a new home. We were both working, making good money, and the relationship seemed to be going in a positive direction. We had actually started talking about having kids and trying, but he had had some issues from childhood. He had lymphoma as a child, a very young child, and that had just caused us a lot of issues. And I also had PCOS, so that together just did not work out for us. I'd had a couple of miscarriages, and it was just never worked. So literally the 5th week of him being at the academy, he called me on like a Tuesday and told me he didn't want to pursue the relationship anymore. It was over. He would be back on Friday to pick up everything out of the house, and he was leaving. And I was devastated because, like I said, I had been with this man for 7 years. I supported him in pretty much any career he wanted. Even at his lowest, I'd supported him. Even when we were horrible with one another, I would, defend him. He would defend me. Like I said, it was very toxic. And so when that relationship ended, I was devastated. Come to find out, he actually was one of those men, and he still is. We're actually friends now, but um, he can't leave a relationship until he's lined up the next relationship. And that's something that he's always been and always done. Um, this was not our first breakup. This was not the first time he had left me for another girl. But this was the first time that he had actually left me and blocked my number and refused to speak to me. And it was just bad. It was just horrible. The home we had just moved into, probably about 2 months prior to that, was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It was a pretty big house. And we had went from living in a loft, which was an open floor plan before that, to this humongous home. And it was just me and at the time my 3 dogs, which 2 of them I still have. But I was at a very low point. There was many nights I would cry, and I hated I lost a lot of weight. I'm already naturally a very tiny person, but I think I got down to like 90 pounds. And I was really, really, really sad and sick and just confused. And so my mom ended up moving in with me just because she was kind of like a place card holder to pick up the pieces of what so I wouldn't be alone. So she moved in with me. And after that relationship, after about a month and a half of me just really just going through it in every way possible, mentally and physically and emotionally, just torturing myself, I just kind of swore men off. I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be with anybody. I'll just find like a friends with benefits. And I was, like, I don't want to ever experience that type of heartache again. So I kind of just had fun for a little bit. I would go out with female friends and just friends in general and drink a little bit and have fun and, work and just try to take my mind off of what I was missing, which was the person I had been with for so long. And that was September the 11th that we broke up. So from September to the end of October, I just was not even thinking about relationships. I had a friends with benefits that would come around whenever I called him, and we would hang out for an hour or so, and then he'd go on his separate way, and I would stay home or whatever was going on prior to him arriving. And that was just the way I liked it. But as we all know, we're humans. So eventually, that longing for connection starts to hit us, and we want more. It's naturally, I think, inclined for us just to want physical attention. We want to wake up next to somebody. We want to go to bed with them. We want to do things with them. We want to have dates and somebody to tell our days about. And I hadn't really addressed that I was missing that. I was just kind of going through the process and the motions and trying to convince myself I was happy. And then my mom's like my best friend. She came to me one day and was like, you should just try to give it another chance and see, not everybody's going to be like your ex. And at first I kind of brushed it off. And then I think it was like 2 nights after she said it, I was like, well, okay, maybe I'll give it a shot. So I got on Facebook, and just coincidentally, there was a Facebook dating app that popped up. And I carelessly just filled it out, just pretending to have fun and not thinking anything major would come from it. And as a woman, I got a lot of creeps, a lot of guys. Y'all are female, so you know how it goes. Just randomness. And nothing was really exciting. There was a couple of people that I went on dates with, and it was just getting to where it was like a total bummer. Everybody was just so, it was obvious what they were after. It was obvious they wanted nothing long term. It was obvious that it was going nowhere. We didn't connect. The chemistry wasn't there. Something about it. So eventually, after like a month of doing this, I was just like, okay, I'm going to continue to do it because I get free dinners and get out of the house. I know that sounds horrible, but that's where my mind was. It was like free dinners and I'll get out of the house. So I went on like 2 or 3 more dates, got my free dinners, obviously, got out of the house, took my mind off of like being heartbroken, and was having fun with it. Oh, sorry, hold on real quick. Anyways, so that's what I was doing, and there was one guy that I talked to a few times who was very persistent, and he kept asking me to give him, a date or something like that, go on a date with him, and we would chit chat, but he just wasn't my type. I had a certain particular type, as like I think most people do. We're drawn to a certain character, a certain build, a certain stature, a certain look, and mine was everything this guy wasn't. Everything. Mine was tall, um, just everything this guy wasn't. And so I was like, okay, here's another free dinner. After like the third time of him asking me out, I finally was like, all right. So we set up the date, and funny story, the date of, I didn't want to get ready to go on the date. I was just tired of going on these pointless dates. I was like, I have food at home. I don't need to leave the house. I can stay here and watch reality TV. So I texted him and I was like, hey, I hit a deer in my dad's work truck and I can't make it. And I figured, that would be the last time I would ever hear from him because, I don't know, I didn't think anything else would come from it. So, he was like, oh, okay, well, is everything okay? Are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it tonight. He was like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. We'll set it up for another day. And like I said, I didn't think he would ever respond after that. I figured, that was kind of it. We were kind of hit and miss. So I had blown him off and he wasn't coming back around for a second chance. So a couple of days later, he got back in touch with me and was like, hey, did you recover from your accident? And what about that second date? And this time I accepted and found out that he was lived in Colombia, and he asked me what kind of food I liked and everything. And I told him, and he was like, well, let's get that. So we agreed on pizza, and, that we had scheduled the date out for a couple of days ahead. So, sorry, it's late and my mind's all over the place. But yeah, ahead. And so in those couple of days leading up to the date, obviously we would talk more often than we did the couple of times we had spoke on the date app. And he would fill me out and I would fill him out like you would do anybody that you're planning to go on a date with. And sorry, I thought my phone quit recording. And so he asked me the basic questions. What's your favorite color? What kind of music do you like? Favorite movies? Just, the basic questions. And I would give him basic answers as anybody would. And so the date of the date comes. Excuse me, I'm so sorry, you guys. You have to work with me. I'm so tired. The day of the date comes. And it was like, I think we had arranged for it to be on the 23rd. So it was the 23rd of November. That was our first date. And so I think the first date before that was like the 20th, and this one was the 23rd. So, date of the day comes, and mind you, he's driving a little bit further from me. And we're going to meet in a town that's about 30 minutes from here, from me, but about an hour and 20 minutes for him. So we agree to this place. It's a pizza place. At the time, I remember wanting pizza. And to be honest, I did not even put any effort in it. Like I said, I was not into the idea of this. I was like, I'm gonna give it one last day, one last final chance, and then I'm just going to resort to being single with so many cats, so many dogs, no children. That was my mindset. And so yeah, we meet. I drive there, he drives there. We meet and I get to the restaurant and he's there with flowers and he has a button-up shirt on and a like a bow tie, sorry, bow tie, um glasses, and he just looks like he did in his pictures. Not my type, but he seems super nice. So I was like, okay. So we sit down, and lo and behold, to me, the conversation really sparked. It was a very good conversation. He had very good conversation skills. He was super nervous. He was stuttering. He was just really anxious. Now, when I say he had good conversation skills, obviously you're probably thinking, well, if he's stuttering, no, he doesn't. But what I mean is, like, he had good conversation skills, but his nerves were in the way, or so it appeared. And I think the nervousness of it was really endearing for me. It was really sweet. I felt wanted and liked. It didn't feel like the last previous dates I'd been on where these guys made me feel like nothing important, just some number. The effort that he gave was very it was very nice and new and refreshing. So I remember thinking, yeah, he's not my type, but he's a nice guy, and I don't do nice guys, and that's always been my problem. So during the date, we continue to talk, and my mind's a little more open at this point. He tells me that he has a little boy. I think at the time his son was 4, about to be 5 or just turned 5. I can't remember, but he tells me he has a son and that he's been married once. Little backstory on me before I go any further is like I said, I've been married twice, and both of those marriages were prior military. They were both military, so yeah, I'd sworn off the military, and obviously, like I said, I'd had no good experience with cops either. So one of the things I had told myself months back, and when I did tell myself, if you ever do date again, no military, no cops. And then there was that, like, the little exception to the rule. And I was like, but if you do date military, because I live close to 2 bases, one in both direction, then, no infantry. I've known a lot of guys that were infantry. I've dated some in the past, and they're very cocky, very arrogant. And I didn't want to do that anymore. So, yeah. So, on the date, he tells me that he's stationed at Fort Jackson, that he's only been here since October, and when I said, "Oh, you're military?" He said, "Yes, I am. I just graduated from the drill academy. I'm a drill sergeant." And I was like, "Huh. Well, that's new. I've never done that before." And didn't say that obviously, but I was thinking that in my mind. And he says, "But I said, "Oh, okay. So is that like your job? You said you just graduated. Like, did you have a job before that?" And MOS is what they call it in the military. And he was like, "Yeah, I was infantry." So I was like, "Okay, here we go. Here we go." But anyways, my red flag alarm didn't go off because here I am 2 years later with a kid that's 11 months old. Anyways, though, like I said, in all fairness to me, he seemed super nice, well spoken. So not what every guy before him that I dated seemed to be. Nerdy. He seemed nerdy. He was a safe bet. To be honest, he seemed safe. And I know that sounds mean, but he seems safe. He is a very attractive guy. But at the time, he was not what I was attracted to. So he was a safe bet. I was Maybe that's karma. Maybe that's what I get. But I just didn't want to get hurt anymore. I didn't want to have my feelings scattered the way they had been in the past. So I was like, this is a sure thing. If this works out, I don't have to worry about nothing. He's so honest and open and just loyal. He seems like he's just so well rounded. This guy would never do the things my ex has done to me. So fast forward, the date ends obviously, and he asked me if I would be interested in going on a second date with him, and I said yeah. And he was like, well, let me get in contact with you. I think there's a game coming up on Saturday if you want to go to that. So let me, I got tickets if you're interested in that. If not, we can plan something else. He's like, but it's a Clemson Carolina game, so if you would be interested, we can go. And I was like, yeah, or either, I can't remember if he told me he already had the tickets or he could get the tickets. Possibly. I can't remember. But yeah, so I was like, yeah. So I get him, we hug, we say goodbye, say thank you for dinner, and thank you for the flowers, and it's pretty PG. I get in my car, I drive home, he gets in his truck, he drives home, and he texts me and asks me if I made it home safely, and I said, yeah, and he said, okay, talk to you later. The next couple of days, we talked back and forth, and he said, like I said about the other night, there's a game coming up on I think it was, hold on, I can tell you guys to be exact, because I have the tickets still in our memory box. And I'm sorry, I know that's a horrible noise, but my pollen is so bad here in South Carolina. So yeah, I just sound like horrible, but okay, the 30th. Here's the ticket right here. Yeah, and it was right there, November 30th of 2019. So I accepted, because then I was like, he's nice, He's sweet, he's genuine, like I said earlier. The next couple of days, he awed me, with just the way he treated me, the way he talked to me, the way he had this will to want to know who I was as a person, the depth of his questions, the way he made me feel special and important. And like I said, that was something I hadn't had. Even as a child, I never had that. So that, for me, was a big thing. That was a huge thing. So November 30th comes around, and he's like texting me that morning before, and we agreed to sit on Clemson's side of the game because he's not from here. He was from Virginia. I didn't want to say that because I might give some of his information away, possibly, if anybody was to find this video, but oh well. So he was from Virginia, but he wasn't living there before he moved down here. He was actually living a couple of states away, where he had previously been stationed with his ex and his son. So yeah, we go on the second date, and he tells me I can meet him at his house if I feel comfortable doing that, and I can park my car there and we can ride together. And the town that the game was playing in is a big town. It's the town he lived in, which is where he's stationed. So it just seemed like a good idea, because parking for me, if I'd have met him at the game, would have just been horrendous. So I was like, okay. So I set out, made the drive, parked my car at his house, and my first red flag that I ignored should have been who he was when I arrived. He was not the same guy that I had met on the 23rd, or the 25th, excuse me. I can't remember the exact, I think it was the 23rd. Excuse me. We started talking the 20th. I stood him up the first time on the 23rd. Our first date was the 25th. Our second was the 30th. There's the timeline. But yeah, I showed up, and he was not at all, his demeanor was not what it was 5 days prior. So he was very not cocky and arrogant, but confident. The glasses were gone. That was the first thing I noticed, but I didn't think too much of it. Because people can wear contacts, so I was like, obviously, and I was thinking, well, he was in a Clemson t-shirt. I actually have a picture, but it's on that phone, so I can't show you guys. But he was in just a regular Clemson t-shirt and blue jeans and a pair of tennis shoes, and his hair was fixed different than the last time I'd seen him. And his demeanor, he wasn't nervous, he wasn't stuttering, he wasn't anxious or any of those things he was prior to the last encounter we had. So those should have been red flags, but they weren't for me for whatever reason. I don't know, because I guess I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know. But yeah, so anyways, park at his house, meet the new version of him. It's not the old version that I got to know originally, but it's still a nice guy, still very nice, still very caring as he appeared. So, yeah, we went to the game. We met up and tailgated a little pre-tailgating at a bar with a couple of his friends that he knew, some people that he had actually met from another place. I guess he was stationed. He knew him previously. So, met up with that guy and his girlfriend and just got to know his friends, which were super nice people, by the way. Met them, got to know them. We talked to them a little bit. Then me and him and them all walked to the stadium together from this bar, which is about a mile walk. So we start walking. And they split up from us. They actually had tickets to the other side. So they went and sat on the other side while we sat on the side we were on. So that was the last time I seen them all day. Yeah, and from there, the game went well. And like I said, he was not the guy that was very shy, nervous, anxious. All the anxious behaviors were not there at all. So while we were in the stadium, we were sitting up not too high. We had pretty good seats. I can't even remember. Let me look at the ticket again. We were on row 29, seat 25. So we weren't that far from the field, but we were kind of like in a good middle area. But I remember there was people in front of us, these two guys, and they were turning around talking to us a lot. And one of the guys was honestly the type of guy that I would normally be attracted to. And he was just making little comments here and there to us. And our team that we were rooting for actually scored a touchdown. And the guy turned around and said something to us, and he asked me for a high five, so I gave him one. And at the time, I'm going to just call him Jay. Jay said, "Why don't you ask him for his number?" And I looked at him and I said, "Because I'm here with you. Why would I do that?" And he said, "Oh, I was just testing you." So that was kind of awkward. But then another little red flag. I don't know if I would really consider a red flag, but I guess I kind of would, because like I said, now that I've been in this kind of situation and read the signs, it's narcissistic tendencies and complete characteristics and traits of a narcissist. So now I know that. But at one point in the game, I couldn't see that great. So I look over at him and he's got sunglasses on, and I ask him, "Can you see?" Because, my mind's thinking he wears glasses. He goes, "Yeah, why wouldn't I be able to?" And I'm like, "Because you don't have your glasses on. Are you wearing contacts?" He goes, "No." And I was like, "Well, then how can you see?" He goes, "Oh, those are just like reading glasses. I don't really need them. They just look good on my outfit. So there was a big red flag because looking back on it, I should have said these are all signs, of like manipulation tactics. You portrayed yourself as this really safe, caring, shy, easygoing individual when you're actually not that person at all. And another red flag is, like I said, he was very nervous on the first date, like nervous to hug me at the end of the date. So, at one point our team scored a touchdown, but we had a bet, and the bet was if our team scored a touchdown that he would get a kiss, just like a PG kiss. And I was like, and I don't remember what I said I would get. I think beer. We would go get more beer afterwards. I don't remember. If I, won or whatever. But anyways, he ended up he won. So he got his kiss. So yeah, all red flags. From there, the date ended, and we got back in his truck, and we headed back to his house so I could get my car because I had to go home. Obviously, I didn't know him well enough. I'm not the type of girl that just stays with guys after meeting them once or twice. So I was going to go get my car and head home because I also had work the next day. So we get back to his house, and he was like, oh, would you like to come in for a little bit? We can drink a couple of beers or drinks and watch some TV. And I told him, no, thank you. I have to get home. And he was like, well, okay, I understand. You sure you can't come in? And I was like, I'm sure. Thank you, though. Maybe next time. And yeah. So I got in my car, and literally, he texted me and was like, you sure you can't turn around and come back? And I was like, yeah, I know, I got work. Sorry. So then he texted me. He's like, no, text him while you're on the way home. Make it home safe and let me know you made it. So, I was like, okay. So I get back, and I had to go to Walmart. So I texted him. I'm like, hey, I made it. I'm back in my town. I'm at Walmart. And no response for like 30 minutes, which was not like him. So I was like, okay, great. I'm getting blown off. And then an hour passes, still nothing. 2 hours passes, and nothing. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I turned him down. Obviously, he took me out twice. He thought he was going to maybe get lucky. And when I turned him down to not come inside, now he's got no interest in me because I didn't, fulfill what he was looking for. And I made it back home, which I lived like 2 minutes from Walmart at the time. Came inside, and he texted me and was like, would you like to be my girlfriend? And I was like, yeah. Because at that point, like, at the game, I had started to like him. I seen a confident side of him, but I also was thinking about the compassionate, caring side that I'd already met prior to that. So it was like a good mixture of the two. And it was not me looking at the red flags and seeing the red flags. So yeah, I accepted. We started dating. So yeah, I think I'm going to stop right there for the night because I think my daughter's about to wake up. But yeah, there's so many red flags to the story. It kind of, please bear with me, guys, because it gives me such terrible anxiety talking about this. Just like looking back now where I'm at, I don't understand how I could have been so dumb for so long. I'm just a trigger warning for anybody, because I know some people can be easily triggered by these things. The stories to come are going to get a little darker and deeper. There's going to be talks of suicide. There's going to be manipulation tactics. There's going to be cheating, lying, conniving. An abortion was actually, this wasn't my first pregnancy by him, so a lot of cohesion, gaslighting, just so much. And that's why I feel like this story holds so much weight to tell. And I know this part of it's probably like, what? Why'd you tell us 30 freaking minutes about meeting this guy? Because I could have just skipped ahead and told y'all the juicy stuff. But in order for you to understand the juicy stuff, you have to understand this person and who they created themselves to be to me. And I think that's what is so hard for me to relive, because I was so, what's the word I want to use? I was addicted to this person was like a drug to me. But they did that. They made me crave their attention. They made me feel so good in the moments of good that it was the best feeling. And in the moments of just bad, it was the worst feeling. It was the worst feeling I've ever felt in my entire life. So yeah, we've got a lot to talk about though, if you guys want to listen. And I hope you'll join. And like I said, I hope that this video will... This is just a start. This is nothing. This is good. The next video I'm going to make is about, the next, like, month of our relationship. How crappy it was. How bad it was. And how I was so stupid because I thought we were so in love. It was all tactics. And I'll make that probably tomorrow. I'll probably upload this video. And I'll upload that video too, because that one will probably only be like an hour, 30 minutes to an hour long. So I'll probably upload this and then upload those directly behind it. But yeah, thank y'all, and I hope this helps everybody. And hope these series of videos kind of do what they're supposed to do, and whatever that is. Help me heal, help others understand, see it from an outside perspective. Maybe if they're going through what I went through and they can look at it like, yeah, that's me, but it's not me. It's somebody else in this same scenario. Maybe they can get away before they stay. You know, so if that's what it does, then I hope that's what it does for somebody. I would never wish the things I've been through. I mean, I've been through so much with this person for 2 years. But y'all have a great night, and I'll finish the videos tomorrow. Thank you.